Good afternoon and welcome to We Talk. I am your host, Shawntay Dixon, Program Manager of Great Lakes Women's Business Council's Women's Business Center. You know, this morning I was thinking of when I was younger and we used to take trips to Georgia from Michigan. Georgia is the original birthplace of my mom. So every year we used to travel down to Georgia and we would make that long trek down I-75 South from Michigan all the way to Georgia. And I just recall we never had a map because we knew how to get from point A to B. With my mother growing up there, we knew how to get there and we never mapped out how to get there. Well, you know, several years ago, my mom relocated back to Georgia. And so I, along with my family, we started making the trek down to Georgia every year to go visit my mom. And in my mother's true fashion, I never mapped out the directions because I knew how to get to my destination. Well, one year I can recall that there was a major accident on I-75. And this accident was so severe, it disabled the freeway. And I can immediately see the cars getting off the freeway. They're exiting at the nearest exit. And I was suddenly crippled with fear because I knew that if I had gotten off one of those exits, I really didn't know which way to turn. So ultimately, we got off an exit. We drove a long distance. We couldn't seem to find our way. Every time we thought that we could jump back on the freeway and bypass the accident, it seemed like it just led us further and further off our beaten path. And this, I remember, it just caused such great angst. We went in circles and circles, and finally, after much time and growing weary, we asked someone for assistance. And that person was generous and helped us to find a way to navigate back to 75 and bypass. But we've lost a lot of time. We lost resources because we were weary for our journey. We had been traveling now for hours and hours, and now we have to spend resources that we didn't plan because we now we're tired. The reason I'm sharing this story with you, I know many of you may not be able to fathom that because today we have our mobile devices with GPS enabled gadgets. And so you can't even fathom not being able to go from point A to B without the navigation tool in order to do so. But that is a very real story. And I'm sharing that story today because this is Business Planning Month. December is National Plan Your Business Month. And I wanted to share, and I was thinking as we are preparing for this We Talk segment, because a lot of individuals, such as yourself, may start off in business. You may have a grand idea and you proceed and launch that business without a plan. And you do not want to be like I was in this story trying to get from Michigan to Georgia and start out with a great idea and only you fizzle out or you find yourself growing weary because you've wasted a lot of time and resources because you did not have a plan. So I am very excited to share today's We Talk with you all because I have some special guests here that are part of Great Lakes Women's Business Council. They are experts in this particular subject, and they're going to share with you some great tips on the importance of a business plan. What is it? What are some of the elements? We're going to demystify the business plan today. We're going to dispel some myths that you may have about business plans. And ultimately, we're going to share some resources so that you can be successful in your business endeavor. So before we begin our discussion on business plans today, I think it's very important to look at some of the statistics that are out there regarding business failure. When we talk about planning, we want to set the stage about its importance. The reality of it is that many individuals start businesses every year, and it has been very consistent that usually those businesses that launch, 80% go on and continue to be successful. So there is a strong chance of a 20% or 1/4 of those businesses are no longer in operation a year after they start. And within 5 years, about half of those businesses are no longer in existence. So I looked at what causes business failure. There was a recent study done by CB Insights, and it stated that 42% of small businesses fail because of a lack of market demand. Another 29% of new businesses reported failure because of lack of finances. And of course, there are other causes of business failure, including not having the right team, getting out-competed by your competitors in the industry. Of course, there are product issues and cost-related issues, but I wanted to share these statistics with you today because I think that really sets the stage on the importance of planning, because business planning is very important. That's what we want to get across to you today here at the Women's Business Center. So I just shared some statistics provided on business failure as we begin our discussion. And I want to welcome our first guest today, Lori Wesby. She is our MentorWE program coordinator. Lori Wesby. Welcome, Lori. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm excited. Excited to be here. And what a great analogy to talk about your personal story and not having that roadmap. I mean, it ties in perfectly with what we're talking about today.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's get started. Lori, you're the MentorWE program coordinator. Can you discuss your role? What does that entail?
So, well, let me talk about the MentorWE program just a moment. So the MentorWE program started really last year as an initiative of the Great Lakes Women's Business Council's Women's Business Center. And it's powered by the U.S. Small Business Administration. And it was really developed for our certified WBEs to advance and develop their businesses through corporate and peer mentorship. When the pandemic hit, there was a demand for WBEs or from WBEs for assistance with those who have been hardest hit by the global pandemic. And so the MentorWE COVID-19 recovery program was created. And so it has been my obligation, responsibility, and really my honor to assist our WBEs by pairing them with carefully selected executive coaches, executive mentors, and put them in individual cohorts so they can get small group mentoring and strategies to help turn their businesses around or perhaps pivot into something new to sustain them while they navigate this coronavirus.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sure your interactions with clients during the recovery process, the discussion of business plans have come up. What is a business plan before we proceed? What is a business plan? We don't want to assume everyone knows what a business plan is. What is a business plan,
Right.
Lori?
So simply put, the business plan is your blueprint for success. It charts the direction of your business so things don't happen haphazardly. It keeps you focused on what you said you wanted to do, why you do it, and how you plan to execute it. And it is supported by financial statements and analysis that demonstrate that the business owner has done her due diligence in researching the industry she wants to be a part of.
Okay. So what are the major elements of a business plan?
The high level, the major elements of every business plan, pretty standard. You have an executive summary, you have a general company introduction, product and service description, market analysis, market plan, your operations structure, your management summary, and your use of funds, particularly if you're going to approach a lender or a traditional banker for access to capital. And it should have some information about your strategy for growth and loan repayment, and your business and revenue model. Very important. Those are the key elements. And so I can expound upon those.
Okay, so when we think of some of the statistics I shared earlier, we talked about the percentage of business failure due to market demand, a whopping 42%. That's very high to be exact.
That's huge.
So what should the market analysis cover? If we want to just dive into the marketing aspect of it, what should that address in the business plan?
Sure. So your market research And it has to make sense, and it needs to talk about the size of the industry, the demand for your product, the growth potential for your product, and the trends and how they affect what direction your business should take next. Any barriers to your growth or development. Also, your marketing plan needs to talk about, go more in depth about the products and features and services that you offer and your target customer base. Also, the competition. It can include the features and benefits of your product, customer demographics, competition, competitive analysis, your market niche. You know, where do you fit in or where do you stand out? Your promotion strategy. How do you plan to get the word out to the customers, your potential base? Distribution channels. Are you using print media? You know, visual TV, you know, your marketing budget, very important. How much do you have to spend on marketing and where are you going to spend it in what areas? Your pricing structure, it should talk about where you're going to be located, you know, location, location, location.
So
Yeah,
that's
and
very thorough.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
So that was very great information, Lori. You shed some light on what the marketing analysis should address, because from my years of experience working with individuals at the startup phase and even those who are already in operation, many of them think that everybody wants my product. You build it, they will come. So to hear
Mm-hmm.
that it's more in depth and you have to be more specific and targeting
Yeah.
who your ideal customer is very important. If you recall at the top of the segment today, another contributing factor to failure that was shared was not having the right team. So does the business
Mm-hmm.
plan address that issue at all, Lori?
Yes, yes, it does. Absolutely. Your business plan should address that in the management summary. So your management summary is going to identify who's on potentially your board of directors, who's your advisory committee. Do you have an attorney for your business? Do you have an accountant? Do you have an insurance agent? You
So
know,
those
these are
people
some of the things that
support.
people, that's right. Do you have a bank or a traditional lender that you have a relationship with? It's not just about getting a loan or getting, you know, some money and then you part ways. They're interested and invested in you as well. So you have to continue to hone and develop that relationship. Do you have business consultants? People who've been there before and, you know, people who are seasoned entrepreneurs. And so they can advise you. Do you have, again, key mentors? Very
Mhm.
important. Very important.
So that's important because I believe the business planning process, once you go through it, it will help you to look at where the holes are if you're going to run
That's
a
right.
sustainable business. So that will help individuals to start identifying those players. Lastly, the statistic that I shared earlier, it said 29% or almost a third of new businesses fail because of lack of finance. And you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
Lori, in your opening that the business plan should address funding requests and financial analysis. What
Yes.
specifically should be conveyed in that financial analysis section of the business
So
plan?
yes, very good question. You absolutely need to have your revenue forecast. You need to have your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, your budget. You know, how much is coming in and going out. And if you're even more diligent, cash flow analysis, which I think is one of the things that a lot of our businesses, especially during this pandemic, are finding out this was their gap. They had
Mm,
not done cash flow analysis to find out where am I going to run out of money? When am I going to run out of money? What should I do now to prevent that? And so, all part of the plan, right? So it's the
mhm.
difference between working in your business and working on your business.
Yes, I like
Yeah.
that, working on the business. You shared some wonderful information, Lori, and I'll have you back on at the end of this segment. So thank you for providing this excellent start to our conversation on business plans. You really shed some light on,
Thank
now we
you.
know how important it is that we have all those elements covered and addressed.
Mhm.
So there you have it, everyone.
My
Lori just
pleasure.
discussed the major elements of the business plan and their importance. Thanks for joining us, Lori. As we segue to our second segment, I'm just really pumped up now about business plans. I've been in this field for over 20 years, and the discussion is always fresh and vibrant when we're discussing about helping our business owners plan their businesses. You can never hear it enough, and each person always bring just a new element of vibrancy to this discussion. So thank you, Lori. Before we segue to our second session, I wanted to share some more information. There was a recent study done by the Harvard Business Review, which looked at over 1,000 businesses over a 6-year span. And what was determined from this study, it said entrepreneurs who write formal business plans are 16% more likely to achieve viability. So they have discovered that 16% of those entrepreneurs who had a formal written business plan were 16% more likely to achieve viability. That is important because you hear some proponents discussing these days that what's the value in business planning, and there are successful businesses that did not have a business plan. So I thought this study by the Harvard Business Review should shed some light on its importance. And secondly, this study also revealed that 19% of those individuals who typically seek out financing are more likely to commit their vision to paper than those not seeking finance. So without a doubt, planning is important. 2020 has showed us that there are so many uncertain factors involved in life and in business, and it presented many small challenges for businesses. Lori discussed earlier about the pandemic really revealed some gaps that individuals have in their planning. And again, there's so many proponents and advocates saying that you do not need to invest the time needed for a business plan. So I believe their numbers are growing that shows that there is value in planning. So that brings us to our next segment and our next special guest, who is Benita Tyler. She is our business counselor for our COVID-19 recovery program here at Great Lakes Women's Business Council. Welcome, Benita.
Thank you, Shawntay. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be talking about business planning for small business owners today.
So, business counselor, we know what a business counselor does in a general sense, but what is specifically your role at the Women's Business Center?
Okay. So for me, working with small business owners is what I'm assigned to do. I'm here to support our business owners, those who have been negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically those who have had a sharp decline in their revenues, may have lost sales, they may have lost customers, they may have had disruptions in their supply chains, and really trying to figure out, how do we continue to operate a business in these times? Virtual business practices is one of the areas that we really focus on, and helping business owners to create a new strategy. Maybe they're pivoting, maybe they are creating an entirely new business model.
Hmm. So, I'm sure you have worked not just here at Great Lakes Women's Business Council, but throughout your years of experience, you've seen a lot of business failures as well as business successes. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Yes, yes. So you've also have been involved in their success. So we thank you for just sharing your expertise and talent with business owners, because there is such great value in having a business counselor to help navigate and help with the planning process. It can be daunting when we talk about the business plan. So Benita had shared at the opening of this segment, many individuals don't see the value in planning and they wonder why invest that kind of time. How do you respond when you hear, do I really need a business plan?
Well, you know what? I have a couple of different responses. One is a short story, very short,
We love
and it.
stories.
Well, when I was growing up, one of my favorites was Alice in Wonderland, and the segment that kind of applies to business in a business situation when we're talking about, do I need a business plan? When Alice was on her trail and she was lost, and she ran into Cheshire the cat. She was at the crossroads, right? And she asked Cheshire, she said, "Well, which way do I go?" And then he responded by asking her a question. He says, "Well, where are you going?" And Alice replied, "Well, I really don't know."
Wow.
And he replied, "Well, any road that you take will get you there." And that's the same thing with our businesses. If we have no idea of the direction, or if we don't have an intention about the direction that we're going, then we're kind of just out there like Alice in Wonderland. A business plan is going to help us to get more focused, help business owners to get more focused, help them to understand where you are today, where you plan to go, and what you need to do resource wise, planning wise, what you need to do to get to that next step. So the old quote that says, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And that's what my answer is always about business planning.
Okay, so Lori really laid out an outline for a business plan, and it sounds very thorough,
Hmm.
and that's the reality of it. So many individuals, especially entrepreneurs who don't have a team working with them, and
Hmm.
they look at the time that's going to be invested in doing those activities that are not revenue generated, opposed to doing those things that's going to help bring in revenue. So the question that comes up about how much time it typically takes to complete a business plan, how would you respond to that, Ms. Tyler?
Well, the truth of the matter is this: every individual is different, and every business is different. So the amount of time it takes will vary. The amount of effort that will take is it varies. But I would say that typically a business plan would take at least 4 weeks. And it just depends on how comprehensive you are about this plan. It may take up to 1 year, but I think that you can really accelerate this process using a business plan template so that you are not starting with a blank slate. That could really help to shorten that time frame, as well as reaching out to individuals who can help you with that when you get stuck. Business counselors, your advisors, your business banker, people who can chime in, your peers, people in the industry really can help you to shorten that time frame so that you aren't spinning your wheels, and that you can really get the business plan completed in a reasonable amount of time.
Thank you, Benita. So, from my experience in working with business owners and helping them to go through that business planning process, many are very excited. They can talk about their business idea, their mission, what their goals are all day long. But in my experience in working with entrepreneurs or business owners and the entrepreneurship programs that I was a part of, many of them, when we start getting more in depth, usually around the time of the marketing, and especially when you get to the financials, where they have to really roll up their sleeves and do some of that, just thinking it through and doing the research that's involved. That's where you start seeing that hope start fading, or it really shows where the rubber meets the road. So there are a lot of myths around business plans as well. Some individuals think that business plans are going to guarantee success, or only those who need financing should do a business plan. So can you dispel or share any of the myths that you are familiar with, and shed some light on these myths surrounding
Yeah,
the business plan?
yeah, absolutely. Just as you were saying, that list can be very long, because a lot of times, especially if they're new to the business planning process, we go into it with these grandiose ideas about what this business plan is for, is going to do, or may not do. Um, but three of the, I think, top ones. In terms of the conversations that I've had with small business owners and entrepreneurs, one of the top would be that you only need a business plan if you're seeking an investor, and you kind of alluded to that too. But that's not the case. Yeah, an investor will want to see your business plan, whether that is or any external stakeholder. Maybe that's your business banker if you're going for a loan, or maybe if you're looking for some type of funding outside of your own. But having a business plan is also for you as the business owner. Lori mentioned too, it's your roadmap. It's your ticket to success. It's your The more you use your business plan, the more intimate you become with the business idea that you have. You really, I think, should be working on that as a business owner, so that you can continue to understand what's happening inside your business and outside of your business. And having that information will help you to make really good decisions. The other myth is that you only need a one pager. Now, there's those proponents out there that say you don't need a business plan at all. And then there's another group of people who are saying, well, you really only need to do a one pager.
Mm-hmm.
Write it out on a piece of paper, the toilet paper entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can get the ideas out, and you can use a one pager as a template to get started. But I
Okay.
really do think that, like Lori mentioned, all of those elements, they are there for a reason. And those businesses that have been successful have been those that have taken the time to do their due diligence, to go ahead and complete all of those sections. And really, it's the benefit to you as the business owner to do all of that. So the one pager is cool. Yeah, it's a good place to start. But yeah, go ahead and if you're serious about growing a real business, go ahead and complete a real business plan. And then the last one is the plan. Once the plan is over, that's it.
Right. Put it on the
You
shelf.
know, right? Put it
My
on the
business
shelf.
plan.
But we all know that that's not real. We all know that, well, business owners that are successful, they all know that a business plan is a constantly evolving tool. And it's
Mhm.
something that, no, not, we don't just put it on the shelf. We pull it out on a regular basis, dust it off, because we are operating in a dynamic environment. Things
Yeah.
are constantly changing, and we see now, well, even COVID, that it showed us just how fast things can change. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's very important. I would recommend, pull the business plan out. I say at least twice a year. I would go for maybe once a quarter, if you're really diligent, just to make the updates. What new things have come out that that can help you to be a better manager, a better decision maker, what's going on in the market, what's going on with your peers, how's things changing with your pricing, updating those financial models, updating, your marketing and pricing analysis. All of those things are so very important. So yeah, continue to work on that business plan. Don't just set it on the shelf, pull it out.
Don't sit it on the shelf.
Mm-mm.
That's important. So the business plan is I say it's a living, breathing document. It should evolve as your business and the environment evolves. So thank you for shedding light and dispelling those myths, Benita. And you also shared some very pretty sage advice that I'm hoping you all out there watching us are taking notes, because this is some great, great nuggets here. So thank you, Benita. And I'll have you join us later for our final segment.
Thank you, Shawntay.
So now, as we segue to our third segment, I wanted to share some top business planning mistakes. There was a post done by Entrepreneur Magazine, and they looked at a lot of different business types in terms of industries that they're in and length of time they were in business. But they found some universal, I would say, elements that stood out amongst all of them as far as the top business planning mistakes that were made. So the first one is the plan is poorly written. Um, the presentation is sloppy, or it was incomplete. They, as Lori laid out the various different elements, they may have had only a few and not all. The plan is too vague, or on the opposite end, it could be too detailed. The plan made for unfounded or unrealistic assumptions. The plan included inadequate research, and also they made claims in the business plan that there were no risk involved in this new venture. And also no competition. And lastly, and I believe Benita Tyler alluded to this, the business plan is really no plan at all. So they may have had just a one pager and did not have some substance. So that is a good segue to our next segment and our next guest. It is my pleasure to have Sherry Cummins, who works with me in the Women's Business Center, with us. She is going to share with us some more nuggets and some more resources that will be of benefit to you. But Sherry is the Michigan Women's Marketplace and the WBE Services Coordinator in the Women's Business Center or at Great Lakes. So welcome, Sherry.
Thank you, Shawntay, for having me. I'm excited to share what I can to help our entrepreneurial women and our women business owners.
Wonderful. So Michigan Women's Marketplace, that sounds very exciting. Can you share with the audience, what is the Michigan Women's Marketplace?
Well, the Michigan Women's Marketplace is a virtual version of the traditional marketplace where people gather to share their wares, purchase goods, and visit with each other. That's what they had, and today we have those things as well. So picture in your mind an old Western where everybody came together into the marketplace and shared what they had and sold and purchased and visited with each other. And for instance, we have a directory of Michigan women-owned businesses, and there are business tools, mentors and education and news. So everything that you would find in a traditional marketplace is on our virtual marketplace.
Wow, that sounds very exciting. So can you share with us some, you've heard in the previous segments about the business plan, and I am a woman business owner seeking assistance. Can you share about the MWM services and the products that are on the Michigan Women's Marketplace with us?
I am excited to share those with you because we want to avoid those 10 mistakes that you talked about, and we have resources to help you avoid that. There are several resources available on the portal. Under the Learn menu, you'll find business tools that include samples of business plans. You'll also find links to business experts like the SBA, the SBDC, and SCORE. There are others. And you can link directly to an exciting tool called the Dream Builder, where you can actually build your own business plan. And there are 13 sessions that you can attend for each of the sections on the business plan that will help you to be more intentional in your writing of your own plan. It helps to help guide you in understanding what a written business plan is and the sections of it, which can sometimes be daunting.
Wow, that is awesome. Very awesome. So I'm sure you heard Benita Tyler as well as Lori share about the business plans. Now I heard you mention that there are sample plans on the Michigan Women's Marketplace. What is the value in using a sample or template business plan? Can you just shed a little more light?
You've heard the saying that you don't know what you don't know. And by looking at a sample plan, especially if you've never created a business plan, you'll learn the proper way to put together a plan. They give you direction. A bank or financier who's going to review your plan will be looking for certain elements in the plan that Lori had described earlier. They're looking for specific information. And so by using an outline of a professionally put together business plan, you can avoid omitting that important information, and you can be assured that you know what a proper business plan looks like. Examples are inspirational as well. Maybe you don't know what directions to go. And even though all plans are unique, if you're new to the process, a well-written sample will demonstrate to you how the content flows. You'll need to conduct your own research and specific market data to you. But using a professionally done business plan will help tremendously in creating your own unique plan in a way that's proper and professional.
Wow, that is wonderful. Now, you had mentioned that we would have to do our own research. And when I was listening to Lori share just about the marketing alone, for me as a business professional and someone who trains entrepreneurs, it sounds very overwhelming. So can someone get assistance at the Women's Business Center with that market research that you're speaking of?
Yes, and that is really an exciting feature of being a client of the Women's Business Center, because I remember in doing a business plan I needed for a certification, what took a great deal of time, and I really had no idea of where I could even find this information. And when I started looking for it, it was really difficult to find. what we have to offer you can help you avoid that, and the information you receive will be the best that you could possibly get. And it's just really a wonderful feature that we have through the Small Business Development Center, or you might know it as SBDC. And because you're our client and we have a great business partner relationship with them, if you let us know what you need, we can provide that to them, and they will generate reports that we will provide to you to help you with your plan. It's just an invaluable service that we provide, and it can be generated for you, our client, at no cost.
At no cost. That was going to be my next. That was my next question. A lot of tools and resources. So how can someone access the Michigan Women's Marketplace, Sherry?
Well, I have the answer for you because I'm very passionate about this portal of the Women's Business Center called the Michigan Women's Marketplace. We often refer to it as MWM. You can become a member for free of the Michigan Women's Marketplace. Our relationships with business resource partners that we've worked years on, and our subject matter experts allow us to provide education and the resources, the reports that we discuss, and all of it at no cost to you. And how do you do that? It's easy. You just go to www.miwomen.com. That's www.miwomen.com, and you register. Or you can call and reach out to Great Lakes Women's Business Center by calling 734-677-1400 at the Great Lakes Women's Business Council. But in the end, we would want you to be a member of the Michigan Women's Marketplace to access all those wonderful free resources available to help you not only to craft the plan through the examples or go through the Dream Builder and build your plan, but learning how to and learning what you need to know to have a successful business.
Wow, this is just really amazing. The tools and resources at our disposal. So thank you, Sherry, for shedding light on tools and resources, because again, writing a business plan, it can appear daunting, but I believe the tools and resources that they have at no cost as a tax-paying citizen, these services are available through our Women's Business Center. So I think that's just amazing. And there's no reason why everyone shouldn't be planning their businesses so you can be successful. So at this time, Sherry, if you can remain with us, I want to bring our other guests back, Lori Wesby as well as Benita Tyler. And in our few moments together that are remaining, I want you to just share some final comments. If there are some nuggets or some words of wisdom you would like to share for those who are watching our program today on business planning. So we'll start with you, Sherry. We'll go in reverse order.
Well, no matter the stage you're in with your business or your business dream, I encourage you to use the resources of the Michigan Women's Marketplace and our business resource partners to create a plan or to revamp your current plan for optimum outcomes. We have all the resources that you need right there to help you to become successful in your business planning.
Thank you. Okay, Benita Tyler.
You know, business planning can be daunting, but what I want you all to remember is SMART goals and keep it in bite-sized chunks. And, you know, do each section, one section at a time, and do the best that you can and keep moving forward.
Thank you. Lori?
Okay, I'm going to say spend the time up front developing your plan. You don't have to rush to do it. It can be daunting, and like Benita said, take it one part at a time. But I would also recommend that if you have a business mentor, someone who's been in this industry, maybe not the same one as you, but been in business for a long period of time and amassed success, sit under their wings and get information from them about how to develop your business plan. It is critical to your success.
Thank you, ladies. I wish we could spend more time with you all, but I believe that you all shared such a wealth of information with our audience today. I'm very excited just to know that there is assistance available for women as well as any small business owner who is contemplating starting a business or ready to take their business to the next level. So I want to thank each of you, Lori Wesby, Benita Tyler, and Sherry Cummins, for joining us today for our special We Talk segment on business planning. And until next time, join us again for another special We Talk. Bye-bye.